Alright, so we have got the new toy, and I'm about to reveal it to you. Bam! 87 Jeep XJ, 4-wheel drive. It's got the 4.0 liter straight six. Needs a head gasket and a couple little things on it. $500. Alright guys, that was a lot of fun, but back to the regularly scheduled program. I've already started kind of messing with this guy here. So what I've done so far, start pulling the harness all off, getting vacuum hoses unhooked and out of the way, PCV out of the way. So I'm just going through disconnecting everything, getting all the injector clips off. And then once I get all the harness out of the way, I'm going to take the intake off, start taking the power steering pump off and this bracket off, and get this manifold off and get all that thrown off to the side. I got the throttle cable and disconnected. Need to get this guy out of the bracket. But yeah, so already making headway on it. Just started messing with it a couple minutes ago. Just getting everything moved out of the way, and then we will pull the intake and exhaust manifold off, get the power steering pump off, gotta take the compressor off, get all the coolant hoses off, spark plugs and wires out, and then we're down to the head pretty much. So there's not a whole lot to these. It's just gonna have to go through and do it all step by step. So I got the manifold off of here, and it is a pain in the butt. I got it strapped up out of the way for now, but there is bolts all down through here underneath, and just let me tell you all the different things I used to get obscure lengths and swivel, and it was a pain in the butt, but we got them out of there. And now I'm just taking off this nut here, and then there's one on the back as well, and then the exhaust manifold will come off, and it sits on one stud right there, one stud in the middle, and a stud in the back, so it just kind of hangs out. There is a hard pipe that goes from the bottom of the intake to the exhaust. I'm thinking for EGR stuff or smog stuff, so there is a hard pipe you need to loosen, and the nut for it is it's a 1 inch. I used a 1 inch wrench to get it loose. But so the manifold's out of there now. Exhaust manifold's about to come off, and then I need to take off these coolant hoses right here, get the valve cover off, pull the rockers and everything out, and then we're about ready for the head to come out. Alright, so we got the valve cover out of here, and everything is looking good. The oil even looks good, which is weird because they were getting oil up here, and that's what led them to believe that there was a head gasket issue, and that was getting pressurized up a whole bunch. So I am wondering if we got a crack in the head or a crack in the block somewhere. I guess just time will tell. They may have done an oil change on it right before I came by, just so it looked good when I checked the dipstick, and hopefully it's just a bad head gasket, and that's why the oil and everything looks so good up here. But we will turn more into it tomorrow, probably. Starting to get dark now and about to go inside, but tomorrow we'll mess with it a little more and hopefully get the head all the way off, and we'll be able to inspect it and take it by the machine shop and see what they say. Alright guys, so I got out here early this morning and started cracking on it, and just didn't pick up the camera quite yet, but I'll show you what I've done. These 3 hoses across here are all right here. Got those guys off. I pulled all the spark plug wires off and marked them, pulled all my plugs out, and now I am unbolting the head reverse from the torque sequence. So right here, stand from the driver's side, this is going to be your sequence here. And I started at 14, 13, and you just go backwards on the reverse pattern, just so you don't have any issues with it coming off, warping or breaking or cracking or anything like that. So once I get all these bolts out, we should be able to separate it and pull it out and check out the old head gasket and see if we can see any blatant failures, and check out the head some and see what we're working with. Alright guys, so I am back on the Jeep, changing out the cap and rotor while the head's not in the way. And check this out. That's crazy. I can't believe this thing would even start and run. The little tab that goes off here and touches the distributor cap is completely missing. I checked all underneath here and I didn't see it down in the bottom of the distributor, but that's how it's supposed to look right there. It has that tab that touches the distributor that comes from the coil over here. It runs over and then goes down through there, spins around and sends it to your cylinders, but completely missing, melted. The inside of it is completely blackened, so I guess it was just in there arcing and possibly jumping to this tab right here barely. I mean, it did sound like hammered crap when I got it to start up, but so this thing should run a lot better. I got that. Here's the new cap and new plug wires on it and everything. I'm about to stick this guy on there, and then I'm thinking about going ahead and grabbing that oil filter off there while there's nothing in the way. Still got to do the starter, and then I'll bolt the head on here. So yeah, I'm sure it's just a head gasket then. Got the new wick filter on, got the oil drained. Man, there was probably 2 gallons of water down in there, so hopefully that didn't hurt any bearings or anything. But so now I'm about to reach down here and disconnect the wires from the starter and get that starter out of there, because it was no good. We were having to beat on it with a hammer to get the actuator to engage the solenoid. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that guy off, and I got a new one from O'Reilly's, and get that guy slapped on. I'm just kind of trying to do these loose odds and end things while this area is pretty open, just to make it easier. So let's get it knocked out. Now, to take this starter off, you got one bolt here going through the bell housing into the starter. Then there's a second one right here that comes from the starter into the bell housing. So they're going two different directions, but that's where they're at right there. And there's the new starter on the Jeep. So now I'm going to toss the cap back on the rotor, the distributor, and get that all tightened up, and then clean my surfaces over here off of the manifolds, and I'm going to bring the head over here and bolt that sucker on. Alright, so now that we got those little projects knocked out, it's time to get back towards the head gasket. So what I like to do with these is I will take some brake cleaner and some white rags, and I will sit here and wipe this thing down until I am getting nothing on the white rag, to where it's not getting any black or any crap on it, so you know it is perfectly clean with no grease on it. Do that all, I'd wipe it down probably 10 times. For the cylinder head, and then you're ready to come set your gasket on. So with these right here, you want to have really clean hands, or you want to have gloves like this so you're not getting any contaminants on it. Also, try to refrain from touching around the piston seals, because if you get any grease on that, that's right where all your pressure is. So come in here, set this guy down nice and easy. Go any further though, I'm going to go down in here and pull my lips up. You see that one's got a little piece of trash in it. I'm going to go here and go down all of them, pull them out, clean them, check them out, and then put a little bit of let's see here, the Lucas oil stabilizer. I don't have any assembly oil right now, and this engine's been ran with these parts, touching these parts before, but this stuff sticks really well. It's real stringy and everything, so it should suffice until the oil pressure picks up and takes over. So I don't have any assembly oil, but this stuff will work for sure. So let's get to that and go ahead and start pulling these lifters and cleaning them up. Alright, so after some finagling, I am starting to torque the head on. This back bolt right here, I had to replace this stud. They share the same pathway, so this stud, if it's too far deep in there, it actually won't let the head bolt down. So I was trying to put this head bolt in, and it wouldn't go down anywhere near as deep as the rest of them before you even start threading it. So, well, what the hell's stopping this thing? And pulled it back out of there and shined my camera down in there, and that stud was sticking in there some, so I backed it off some and backed it up. I set the nut in, or the head bolt in there, and backed that up until that fell down, and then just went a little bit more. So what I'm going to end up doing is just thread locking, putting some thread locker on that, and making sure that it doesn't go nowhere or anything like that. But it's the only issue I've had so far. So right now I'm going through the first half of the torque sequence, and I've checked this sources for this multiple different places, and this seems to be what is correct here. The pattern is, this is their torque sequence pattern, and then you'll go 22 pounds, 45, recheck all bolts at 45, and then on step 4 you'll tighten all of them except for bolt 11, which is this front driver's side one, because it's a water jacket and they want it torqued to only 100 foot-pounds. The rest of them you'll go in sequence to 100 or 110, and then you'll come back to this one and go to 100. And there you have it, the head is torqued back on. So I'm going to probably end off here today and come back the next couple days and just go ahead and finish getting it buttoned up.